Hello, this is DanO, and I'm here with my partner, co-host, and friend, Dottie Walker. We're back to talk about drop the needle topics, which include good music. That's one of the things that we focus on. So today's topic is really going to be around this thing I can't quite define, and I don't know if Dottie can or not. Yacht rock.
We're gonna give it a try.
It's just such a squishy thing. And it seems like so much of the conversation around it revolves around, is or is it not? It's this yacht rock or is that not yacht rock? And man, the other thing that I notice about it, Toddy, is that if you go back to our golden era, everything in yacht rock is a subset of the golden era. It's
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, it's somewhere in that tap room. You don't find anything that anybody claims to be yacht rock in 1994. Grunge did not qualify as yacht rock. So it still, though, it strikes a chord with me. No pun intended. Well, maybe there is a pun intended. But that whole idea of bringing back some of the songs that maybe at the age that we were in 1980 or 1977, and we thought, oh, that kind of sucks. That's like some soft rock. You listen to it now and you realize that there are some redeeming qualities in that music. And that's kind of what I see as this genre, if you can call it, and it's really a subgenre, is kind of pointing out it's grouping a set of songs that have some characteristics that, in theory, I guess where the title came from was
I know.
if you had a yacht,
Well,
if you had a
actually,
yacht, go ahead.
the phrase yacht rock was coined in the mid 2000s by there was a web series called Yacht Rock, and the creators of that show is where this name came from, and it was attached to this version of soft rock in the 70s, and for some reason the connotation of the name is not good, and I don't understand why. Yeah,
Well, I go
because
back. I go back to the article that I sent you, Toddy, where this is really where I started paying attention to this. Was paying, getting a phone call suggesting that Steely Dan fell into the yacht rock subgenre, and his response, because they were asking for an interview, and his response was, "Fuck you, boo, hang up." So there are people that do have a negative connotation to this,
yes,
including the artists that are often associated with yacht rock.
well, but like you kind of made my point for me right there. Think about a lot of these bands that are, I guess, lumped into this category.
Mhm.
There ain't nothing bad about any of
No.
Steely Dan. Yeah,
Well,
the Doobie Brothers even get pushed at times in. Now, I'm sure more the Michael McDonald years, maybe, but they get pushed into that yacht rock subgenre.
well, there's nothing shameful about it in
No,
my mind, Toddy. I'm going to read you, so you can go out and entertain yourself for hours reading definitions of what is yacht rock. This is just one example of the kinds of things that people talk about that define or disallow bands or songs or albums to be part of yacht rock or not. And it really comes down to keeping it smooth, emphasis on melody more than beat, keep the emotions light, and always keep it catchy. But it's really, in my mind, what I see as just empirical data. In other words, the things that I observe, it comes down to that that production, that thing that Steely Dan, for
you just
instance,
hit
is
on it right
so
there.
good at. It's that production that just makes it incredibly smooth and provides something that a lot of songs don't. And yeah, Crisscross, man, maybe the poster child for yacht rock, but Michael McDonald realized as the godfather of yacht rock,
Sure.
and all of those suffer from
Well,
incredibly great production of their work.
and I think too, like for me, soft rock is kind of a offshoot of say country rock. Yeah, I think maybe God, that Seals and Crofts meets the Eagles kind of thing, and then they, what came America, Pure Prairie Lake, and we could go on and on and on. For me, yacht
Mhm.
rock is more of a blend of some jazz elements and R&B. I think no more than Steely Dan's Black Cow. Yeah, and they fit snugly in this subgroup, but that's one funky badass song right there.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah,
And whether when in some
and
ways,
the
Tony, it
production.
yeah, and it also feels like bringing some of that music that we might have just sloughed off in 1977 because shit, we wanted to hear Pink Floyd, we wanted to hear Leonard Skinner, and all of a sudden, here's the Year of the Cat. What?
Ooh,
I don't give a
oh,
shit about a
Al
cat.
Steele's good though, man.
He is, and
Nice voice.
we recognize that now. But so much of it is, in my mind, taking some of that music that we didn't recognize as being really good because we were looking for something else and bringing it in by virtue of a subgenre called yacht rock.
Yep.
And by the way, I need to back up here. So, really, this will be a great topic for people to comment upon. I will put a link to our YouTube channel in this video, and please take a minute and just go look at what's out there, which includes all of our drop the needle videos. But more importantly, maybe just give us your thoughts on yacht rock. I mean, I don't know many topics in the music world that have brought more conversation than maybe yacht rock.
But let me ask you this. I think some of the negative opinions are okay. If you had to put a face, an artist's face that this is the face of yacht rock, who is it?
Michael McDonald.
See, I lean more toward Christopher Cross.
Hey man, they're cousins. They're at least
And
cousins.
for whatever the reasons, he gets kind of shaded. The dude's a tremendous musician. And then I think some of that also falls in. I mean, hey, let's face it, he had a song called Sailing. And we're on a yacht. So that, there you go.
Well, right, and just to interject quickly, Toddy, there is one aspect of yacht rock that seems to be consistent across opinions, and that is this idea of escape. And whether that means I'm sailing or whether it means,
Don't say the
you
Pina
know,
Colada song. Don't say the
ride,
Pina Colada.
no,
Worst
right,
fucking song ever written.
ride like the wind. That
Nice.
that is
Nice.
my put. But
Yeah.
that idea of escaping is something that seems to be consistent in terms of if a song is it is or is it not. If it talks about getting the hell out of here, at least for a little while, it is.
Right. And like I said, there's so many elements of that, I'll just say smooth jazz that kind of sits there in the pocket of this
Yeah.
stuff that it's really quite good. And
Mm.
it's I'm gonna say
Well,
not easy stuff to play. And the production comes in and obviously plays a huge role because I think the production of this type of music is much more smoother than
yeah.
say some of the other stuff that was going on at the times. But
I would
I,
add it's sophisticated. Really
and
is.
then my question is to you as we go down this path, and I think 75 to maybe 85 was probably that 10-year run that yacht rock proliferated. Now,
And we didn't even know what yacht rock was back then, right?
right. So I I think we've hit on, Steely Dan's lumped into that, at least the Michael McDonald years of the Doobie Brothers are,
Mm.
Christopher Cross. Who else do you slide into that genre? And like Pablo Cruz,
If,
do they fit?
right. And we talked about this, Tony, and I'm not going to go into. We can schedule another podcast to talk about individual artists and is it is or is it not. I'm just not. I'm not sure I'm ready to even voice my own opinions. Firefly, is that soft rock or is it
Mm,
yacht rock? I'm not sure I know yet.
soft rock, because I think it comes more out of that country rock subset.
I think you're probably right. I'm trying to illustrate the point that there's a lot of it that I still have questions about. I mean, there are people that call Michael McDonald and Michael Jackson and Thriller yacht rock. Not for me. If I understand it the way I think I understand it, there ain't no way in Hades that that's yacht rock. But then again, I didn't
Mm-mm.
that didn't invent the term, the genre, the subgenre, and I don't have a big voice in this other than between me and you and the people watching.
Right. And I think everybody that probably grew up in that same time frame that you and I did, and that Drop the Needle focuses on, basically that golden era.
Mhm.
You know, in your tape case, you had a substantial number of, whether it be 8 tracks or cassettes, that were bands that fall into this subgenre, I guess what we're going to call it.
I don't know
And
anything
man,
better.
yeah, it's like I said, it was, well, what we always go back to. It was good music.
It was good music. There's no doubt about that. I don't care if you love Year of the Cat or not. Um, it's got qualities that, in my mind, put it squarely in the realm of good music. It's
And
not
yeah,
one of my
and
favorite
while we're
songs.
on the subject of Al Stewart, Time Passages.
Yeah,
Oh man, what a great song that is.
but in 1978, Toddy, we were wanting Molly Hatchet, and there was so much competition, if you will,
Right.
for what was filling our radios and what was filling our vehicles when we were driving around, not only with our friends but with our ladies. And you just you had to have something that was a little bit. If I'd have thrown on Time Passages with some of the people in my car, they may have questioned my masculinity.
Okay, but Al Stewart is a freaking icon. Dude is still out playing.
Really?
Let that sink in. You know,
Well, everybody from 50 years ago is still playing it. That's the thing I've learned. 50 years ago was magic. Good Lord, that was.
shit, yeah. And now I agree with you. We probably leaned more toward, like I said, Molly Hatchet or Floyd or Steve. That, but you had to have some yacht rock in your box, for those late night
Ladies.
parking jaunts down at Walker's Land.
Yeah.
And and that was my thing with Pablo Cruz. Okay, we all know, Love Will Find a Way, which was on what Worlds Apart record, I think was the name of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little pop song. But you go back to the album before that, to Find Your Place in the Sun. There you go.
Man, I
Yeah,
want to. I want to be on Panama City Beach when I hear that song. I don't care where I am. I want to be
yeah,
there.
yeah. And so there was such a wide range of artists that fell within this group.
Yeah.
But the one thing they had in common was they were all tremendous musicians. They were all, very polished. The production was smooth. And what they put out, hey, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that I agree with you, Tony, and I think that's a big part of this is, um, for whatever reason, I have a list of people that were apparently responsible for this, but I don't want to pull it into here. But bringing that set of music into the present, from the past to the present, and that's what I love about this, and this is why talking this subject in a Drop the Needle episode is so wonderful. It's a great subject, but it also it intersects completely with that golden era that we keep talking about. And we don't mention a lot of these songs. Year of the Cat's not something that we normally talk about, but it was good music. And we
Yes.
just, when we get to this point, I feel like that there's a, when I say this point, I'm going to spill my heart. Get to this age, you look back and you realize that some of what didn't necessarily play on your radio on a date night in 1979, you now look back on and say, shit, that was a pretty damn good song. And the production quality was boom.
Let me ask this. Okay. Of the bands that you can immediately think of that fit in this subgenre. And now we've on previous episodes has voiced our displeasure, our animosity, whatever you want to call it, to the Rock and
No,
Roll Hall of
we
Fame.
don't express animosity, do
Yeah,
we?
well, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, first thing that comes to mind. But what
Maybe.
just struck me is of these bands that
Mhm.
fall into this yacht rock subgenre, how many of them have made the Hall of Fame? When we know Steely Dan, it took the freaking Doobie Brothers forever to go in.
Yeah.
And right off the top of my head, I don't know if anybody else that's in this subgenre are
Well,
there.
yeah. So here's the crazy thing, and it's almost like an invitation only party. First of all, animosity, Hall of Fame. Yeah, I agree that we've identified a lot of animosity that we feel between not only us, but we had a guest host, at that time that was offering his feelings about it, and it just all lined up with, man, there's something there that's not about just talent and not about just great music. Good music is something different. And that doesn't always line up with the things that we recognize as meaningful as good music. Fleetwood Mac. Now I'm jumping over to the Yacht Rock. Fleetwood Mac. Rumors. Apparently, a lot of people don't consider that Yacht Rock. I don't understand. I didn't write the description of Yacht Rock, but I don't understand. If you can put all this other stuff in that subgenre, why would you not want to listen to Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac doing songs from that album? I mean, it's constantly, maybe that's not the right word. It is consistently mentioned in articles that you can read everywhere on music to be one of those albums that if you really want to show off your sound system, if you really want to test your sound system, your speakers, your receiver, your amplifier, play that album on a turntable, drop the needle on an
There you go.
album and listen. And if you don't hear something that makes you feel something, yeah, you either don't appreciate good music or you got a bad system. I don't know which.
Well, and this is my assumption, but prior to Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac was really rooted in the blues
Yeah,
with Peter Green. And so that was kind of their niche.
right.
Now, and then as they evolved and picked up, obviously these next two that they far more critically acclaimed, and they sure as heck was more commercially, successful. But I think because Fleetwood Mac's identity had already been somewhat established,
Yeah.
that I think once you're labeled, it's hard for them to change your label.
You're exactly right, Toddy. And I think the music labels are the big purveyors of that approach.
Sure.
They have something that they feel like will commercially be more profitable than something else. If people believe it's this kind and not that kind, they'll buy it. And so in the years that we were growing up and listening, you didn't have a YouTube or a Spotify or something, Apple Music that you could just go, "Hey, there's a new album out by Fleetwood Mac. Let's listen to 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 songs from it and then decide,
Yeah.
do we wanna buy it or not?" We didn't have that. It was just, "I've heard 2 songs, I love them. I believe in them. I'm buying the album."
There
And
you
then we
go.
take it home and put it on the turntable and drop the needle.
And but you're also afforded the opportunity to, when you put it on that turntable, you pulled out those liner notes and was able to read along, so you
Yeah,
got to know the songs,
yeah,
and that plays a major role. Yeah,
I agree.
but I'll go to Toto. I think that's a yacht rock band.
Absolutely, and it is accepted as a yacht rock band.
Sure. And it was probably one of the first super groups that was put together. And
Uh,
which I don't know, I've never really been crazy about that
um,
terminology. Not call
yeah,
it Bad Company.
well,
They probably was the first one I know of.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and Toddy, I don't know about Toto being a super group per se, but I just know that the first time I heard "Hold the Line," that's all I needed to hear, man. Sell me the record, and
yeah.
from then on,
I, and yeah, I think I know on a previous episode made it quite clear how I feel about the band Ambrosia, particularly
yep.
1975 and 76 Ambrosia. That was straight up yacht rock. Yeah, if under the definition that's being applied to it today.
But then you recognize that's what I was talking about, Toddy, as far as using this yacht rock subgenre to pull music from the past that should have been recognized as some damn good music into the present. And I think
Right.
Ambrosia is a perfect example.
All I know is it falls into that. It's just good music. Yeah. And whether or not somebody wants to attach a label to it that for some reason has some kind of less than desirable connotation. Yeah. Once again, at the end of the day, if it's good,
Yeah.
regardless of what you call it.
Amen. Amen.
And these bands that we have and we haven't really covered very many. Yeah, I mean, probably 5 that we know fall within this group. Uh, Nobody can tell me that any of them are bad. Yeah, you
No,
may
no.
not it might not be a certain person's cup of tea. You may
Right.
not like it. That don't mean they're not good.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, you're hitting on something. And then, yeah, Toddy, we're at 26 minutes. So I want to save time for your new music moment. But you're hitting on something that I guess close to my heart, and that is the things that we're pulling on now that we recognize as quote good music doesn't have to be music that we quote like. I sent you. It's been a while, so I don't know if you remember it, Toddy. I sent you a Venn diagram because I'm a freaking engineer, and that Venn diagram just represented the fact that you've got good music, you've got music that Toddy likes, you've got music that Mike likes, Dano likes, other people like. They intersect at points, but they're not concentric. Concentric. Uh, some things that are good music I don't like. And I want to try to explain that. There's a set of conditions that I apply to good music, and it starts with the quality of the music. And if I don't like it, but I listen to it and I recognize there is some quality there. My God, that guitar riff, that piano roll, that drum beat, that whatever is just amazing. It's one of my, but that doesn't mean it's not good
no,
music.
I agree. And nothing aggravates me more than somebody who say, "I like this," and everything else sucks.
Yeah.
That's kind of an arrogant, way approach. Because and here's what I mean by that. Country is not my favorite genre, but now does that mean that there's nothing good in country music? Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Hip hop,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing. Do I like it? Not necessarily, but there's obviously some talent in that genre. Yeah. So for people to just look at yacht rock and just automatically assume it's not good, need to drop the needle on a few and just
And listen.
listen unbiasedly. Sit down. Holy shit.
Uh,
Take the Asia record and just go put it on and listen. If you don't like yacht rock or you think it's gonna suck, listen to Asia. And then let me know what you think. Or Doobie Brothers Minute by Minute, or was it Minute by Minute or Minute to Minute? Whatever
minute,
that was.
minute by minute.
Minute by Minute. Put that on, give it a listen. And then same thing. Tell me it's not good. You may not listen to it again because it didn't
It may
grab
not.
you, but that
It,
don't mean it's not good.
it may not. It may not appeal to you as a song you're going to have on
Right.
your playlist, but you recognize there's some talent there. You go back to Toto. There are a lot of people that have challenged me on. I don't like that song, Africa. Oh man, that song sucks. Well, yeah, okay, you can think that, but can you tell me that there's not some talent?
Absolutely. Steve Lukather's guitar playing is it's as good as you'll find. The
Right?
he's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
give credit where it's due. The backing vocals that sit just in that little pocket. I mean, in the register they get up in, sing in that background. How can I put it? They're not too abrasive with it, but it is a perfect situation of where they put them in. It just so, and that I think that goes back to the production of Yacht Rock, and I do think it is probably, if you grew up and say, and I see this more out of people maybe who are in this next generation after us, it came up in the '80s that where metal and whatnot, particularly hair metal, was kind of taking over. They're going to look at this as, well, it wasn't very good. But here's what I'll point out. Okay, we still hear Steely Dan played frequently.
Yeah.
Where the hell did Warrant go?
Oh,
We still hear the Doobie Brothers daily. Where the hell did Poison go? I mean,
yeah.
and not knocking them. I mean, they done their thing and more power to them. But it's that what lasts and what doesn't. Good music was going to last. If it's not good, it's not going to.
Man.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have said Cinderella, which I kind of liked it.
But okay, yeah, and just to, I guess, emphasize your point, Heidi, because I completely agree with it. You think about my comment earlier or about the 50-year mark. So many of the bands that we were listening to in the golden era, which just happens to be 50 years ago, or there was at least a point 50 years ago, um, are coming back and playing, but we have this constant reincarnation, if you will, of the songs that do exactly what Toddy's talking about. They exhibit this quality that it may take you a long time to figure it out, to recognize that it's there and it's different and it lasts. Toddy, let's talk about new music.
All right. And we've kind of been on, I'll just call it a hiatus for a while. So I don't know actually what we talked about last time. And this could be a repeat for all I know. It's kind of hard to keep up. But it seems like my listening preference has, at this stage, especially with new music, has kind of moved into this plethora of R&B soul bands that have kind of, and particularly white R&B bands that have really kind of cycled back around.
Blue-eyed soul.
And the one today is a group out of California called the California Honey Drops. And they've got elements of swing, big band, but they're still rooted in that R&B soul, I'm going to say category. But oh man, are they good. They got a song called Loving Made Easy. Give it a listen. And like I said, it's nice for me to see these kind of bands coming back around because they're so reminiscent of what we were listening to in the 70s. Case in point, as
Yeah.
I was going down the road actually yesterday, and I've created a little Pandora channel, just funk, and it
Funk?
is very
Wait, did you say funk?
funk. And hey, man,
A
from the
white
Brothers
boy.
Johnson,
Oh,
Parliament. Yeah, I mean, oh my God. But as I'm tooling along yesterday, Lakeside popped on. And no, it wasn't Fantastic Voyage. It was Raid. And I'm like, holy shit, I
oh,
haven't heard this song in 40 whatever years. Yeah.
yeah.
But so that's what you're seeing. A lot of these, whether it's the Teskey Brothers or that vintage explosion from, the UK, California Honey Drops, even here in Alabama, St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
Mhm.
Now they've been around, 10, 15 years, but they're still putting out new music, but they are a soul band. And
And they're
so,
solid.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And as I always like to say when talking about a new band or a new song, there's something there, and that's with the California Honey Drops. There's something there that is enjoyable.
Yeah,
It is an attention getter. Yeah,
yeah.
and here's my thing: if you can listen to any song and something not move, tap your foot, bob your head, whatever, you might want to move on to something else because it's not evoking the response that it needs
Well,
to.
okay,
But,
Toddy, allow me to attempt to add one thing to that, one response. Sometimes it's my heart. Sometimes I hear a song and man, it grabs my heart, and I may not be tapping my foot, but I may have tears
oh yeah,
running down my eyes, man.
but well, if it increases your heart rate, that made something move.
Okay,
That's
got
my
it.
point here. It's all about this
It
visceral or
causes a
emotional
reaction.
response.
It
Right.
causes a reaction.
There you go.
Perfect
And
point.
and this band will get it from you. It's like I said, they're very refreshing. And so, like I said,
Say,
give the California Honey Drops a listen.
California honey drops.
Yep.
All right.
And that's one of these things I have to, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. And I think I've even said this that, the one thing that Drop the Needle has forced me to do is to get out and listen to some other stuff because
Well,
I was pretty much convinced
yeah.
if it didn't fall in that golden era window, it wasn't worth the shit. I was wrong.
No, yeah, I completely
There's good
agree,
music
and
out there. You just got to look a little harder to find it, but it's
yeah,
there.
and
And so whatever, and like I said, I know there's new up and coming, like I said, I keep going back to the R&B kind of thing, but there's also new metal bands. There's something good that there's some young kids out, doing and whatever you like, see what else is new out there. And think you'll be surprised. I know I was. And like I said, I'm grateful for this little podcast making me look because I got saddled with, my disbelief that there was something good that came after this golden era that Walker, you gonna handle this new music thing. So I start looking and listening and was pleasantly surprised.
yeah,
There's good music out today. You
yeah,
just
no,
gotta find it.
yeah, no doubt, Toddy, and it's this little voyage has benefited me in a lot of ways as well. It's hard to find new music at this point that I consider good music.
And
It's out there. You just gotta look.
and
Go ahead.
here's I think part of the problem. You would think access to music would be much easier today because of all the technology. But the reality of it is you can read something, but then you don't want to listen to take the time. You have to make that choice. Whereas back in the day, you went in a record store and that guy sitting behind the counter, you've gotten to know, he
Yep.
knows what you like and he just, hey man, such and such, released this record on, day before yesterday. Give it a listen. Let me know what you think.
Well,
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
that's where a lot of it came from.
But
So,
yeah, and so I'm spring loaded on something here, Toddy, and that is I've been paying attention to something that we had at that time frame, which is Billboard. Billboard Top 200. How in the Hades do you rank albums, songs today when they're just streamed one at a time? And but back then we could look at Billboard and we could see that, man, this song is
Yeah.
badass and it's got a bullet by it. It's going to the top. And so you walked in and you bought AC/DC Back in Black.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you had something from Billboard that guided you. It wasn't this complete deluge of information from 4,000 different social media platforms that somehow tried to convince you that I don't want to name people mad, but that band wasn't the the thing that was going to change the world. Back then, we had a pretty simple thermometer that told us
Well,
this is what's good.
and we probably wouldn't have admitted it at the time, but on Sunday nights, you had Casey Kasem's Top 40. And, like I said, we probably wouldn't admit it, but we all listened to it. And
I'll admit it freely. I loved it.
yeah, well, I will now. That's my point. But okay, so say you hear Night Moves, and that's all you know. But you know what? I'm gonna go buy that album, and then you realize, holy shit, there's some good songs on this bitch. Yeah,
And yeah, it's funny that you pulled on that particular
yeah,
one, Tony, just because I've seen a couple of articles lately about Bob Seger, and it takes me back immediately to those times that I was listening to Night Moves, and so it,
yeah. He was, and he also finds his way over into that yacht rock category. We brought that up earlier with Rob. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you know,
And hey, as we get ready to sign off here, Tony, I'm just gonna reiterate that the only reason we're here talking to y'all, anybody that's bothered to listen, is because we're passionate. We
sure,
we care. We've been affected. We lived. The music that we're talking about is the soundtrack to our lives, and a lot of you out there have shared that. And if not, it's been some part of what you knew existed, and I don't know how to say it, but compare it to what's there now. But there's still good music out there. Just go look
sure.
for it, right, Toddy?
You can find it.
All right.
And if you find some that you think we need to listen to, let us know.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Drop it
Good
in some
put.
comments and say, Walker, give this a look. And because that's the only way we're going to find, well, not the only way, but it does help for us to find new bands and to see
It,
what else is out there.
it does exactly, Toddy, and it plays right into what we're saying, and that is there's good music out there, and it's
Mhm.
hard to find sometimes. And if you've got some that you want to share, Dottie told you how to do it, what to do.
Yeah.
That's perfect, man.
And if you think we're wrong on Yacht Rock, tell me why. If you think it sucks, you better, come to the table with some damn strong evidence because I'm gonna tell you're full of shit. No,
I love it, man. I was
I
in.
say, we can close on that one right there.
All right,
But
man.
it's been fun catching back up. Like I said, we had kind of been on hiatus for a while. If we got some other stuff resolved and taken care of, but now we back at it. So I look forward to seeing you next time, man.
Enjoyed it, man.
All right, dude. Have a good one, Daddy.
See you.